Hello and welcome back for Game 2 of the semifinals, Counter Logic Gaming versus Cloud9. And C9 put on one of the most dominant performances of the year with that Game 1 victory. It felt like CLG was never in it.
It felt to me like once Nisqy's Qiyana got the kill onto PowerOfEvil and then was able to get kills on both the GP and the Karma, C9 never let up the map pressure and CLG could not recover.
And I've got to give them so much credit for actually punishing every little mistake from CLG. You know, summoner misused, you're going to get killed. You lose vision in an area, they're already setting a trap, right? And they were so good at actually snowballing advantages and pushing the pace of the game without, you know, any sort of siege comp or anything like that. And that is honestly very difficult to do.
Yeah, and I'm so curious to see how CLG responds in this game. I think they should probably ban Qiyana because it seemed like they had no answer for that pick. But also, thinking about how CLG approaches the game, their head coach, Weldon, often speaks about League as if it's a game of unforced errors, right? It's a game of capitalizing on the other team's errors and trying to make as few unforced errors as possible. Yet, at a certain point, once CLG was down in that game, like, if Cloud9 is not making any unforced errors, CLG is just going to lose.
Yeah.
So I think CLG, if they fall behind, needs to find ways to take more risk, and I hope this draft shows that they have more ways to initiate and drive tempo of the game.
Exactly, and that's where you need, you know, playmaking. That's where you need explosive engage. And they did have the Sejuani and the Varus ultimate, but not always the most consistent, and they weren't on point with that. I would honestly like to see CLG go to a range support, play for bottom lane dominance, look to really push the tempo there. If Cloud9 want to play risk averse and play Ezreal and sit back in the bottom lane, draft something that can be taking their turret, draft something that can be really punishing them, and drawing pressure there away from those solo lanes so that your solo laners can be more comfortable and not necessarily under constant pressure.
We'll see that one comes through here. Of course, a lot of times teams have several looks that they are kind of ready for, several drafts that they have prepped that, okay, we're going to play a certain style here in Game 1, different style in Game 2. There's the Qiyana ban you called out, and we'll see if the 1-3-1 looks different here.
Yeah, and there was a lot of discussion around that Qiyana ban as we see the Akali first pick, because oftentimes if Qiyana's banned, it is banned in Phase 2, because it's a champion that I think still has counter matchups, Syndra included. So I would imagine that last conversation was about PoE. Hey, do you want to play Syndra against this, or would you still lose? I think it's the right choice to ban it here because of the jungle pressure that Svenskeren and Nisqy are known for bringing. So it's what beat them last game, I think, by and large, so a smart ban.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And because they're on blue side, they can drop the Akali ban, put in the Qiyana, and then pick away that Akali, still, you know, kind of accomplishing a similar thing. It is going to be Caitlyn for Sneaky here on Cloud9, and this is a pick I thought would really be high priority in this pick. You know, in this series rather. We saw in the tiebreaker utilizing Kate Morg to dominate the CLG bot lane. We saw in the regular season CLG also using Caitlyn very, very well. You know, they used Caitlyn Lux to actually take down Liquid, for example, and this is going to allow them to play more heavily through that bottom lane 2v2.
So it's going to be another strong laner here for Stixxay, though, so CLG might be trying to fight this matchup head on. The Karma is still up right now. You saw it hovered by C9, didn't go for it there, but that's pretty much the major lane dominant support left up on the table right now with the Yuumi banned away. And Lux not really in a great state for pro play in the current patch of 9.15. So I'm curious, does CLG really go hard for a pressing bot lane to try to answer back the Caitlyn firepower?
I mean, we have seen the Zyra last week, we saw Morgana last week, so there are options, but I don't think these are the kind of blind pick supports you would go for. J4 makes a lot of sense here. This is more playmaking and I think consistent engage for the side of CLG, so they have an additional way to kind of pull the trigger and start fights. So I do think that is going to help, you know, CLG quite a bit, and I'd like to see how proactive Wiggily can be in the early game because it did feel like it was Svenskeren dictating the tempo.
This
exciting
is, this Thresh is very exciting because I was going to call back to the tiebreaker game where it was Caitlyn Morg against Zyra Khan and Cloud9 dominated that lane, since the Rakan ban was one of the bans that was actually dropped from Game 1. Another ban that was dropped from Game 1 was the Camille ban. So will we see Cloud9 ban Camille with their final ban of the game and lock in an Aatrox, because they'll still have a lot of flexibility and they'll still have what look to be very strong lanes locked in.
And you can see the Zyra getting banned out. I wouldn't mind a Morgana ban here either. We saw Morgana last week, and I actually think Morgana is one of the better matchups into Thresh. The Black Shield interaction with Hook is very, very effective. This is certainly something that, well, now they don't actually need to ban the Camille because Aatrox is banned.
There's so much stuff to ban.
Yeah.
So, like, Counter Logic Gaming saw that Cloud9 held all the cards here, because Counter Logic Gaming could have banned Camille and then picked Aatrox before CLG had any choice for it. So they just say, we're not playing that game at all. we're banning Aatrox, and then, because it's still up and they don't have to ban the Camille, they get the Morg ban you just called out.
Yeah, and this is really smart. I think that these would have been both great picks. Zyra, you can block the hooks with roots. So now they've denied a lot of the intelligent picks here for CLG, and we have to see, okay, Biofrost, what else do you have for us? Are you willing to go for something like perhaps, you know, the Karma? You can use that fairly aggressively. Are you willing to play the Bard that we've seen a few people bring out in recent patches? And these sort of picks, because those are higher risk. And, you know, you can still run a lane with those picks, but you don't have the innate defense against the hooks that Zyra does with the plants blocking them, or Morgana does with the Black Shield. So it's, you know, it's a lot more risky.
Definitely is. We're going to see what comes through in that phase right now. C9 gets to get soul laners, basically, unless Sylas is playing one of those spots. Gragas is going to be taken into the jungle. Unless you're G2, then it's a mid laner. So Sylas going to one of the solos. Fair, yeah, also a possibility here. So, I guess it's Gragas jungle most likely, and Sylas is playing a solo here.
Yeah. This draft, because the two teams are adapting to game one and the 3 games they played in the regular season, actually quite unique. Even the first pick Akali, which was a drop ban, is already further than CLG has been pushed throughout the year. Even though it's a very popular pick, this is the first time CLG has played Akali this split. So lots of proving to be done. This is the 4th time they've actually played Tahm Kench against Cloud9, so they're really needing to get that Tahm Kench ult to make an impact on the side lanes, which it did not in the last matchup.
Yeah, and this would be really interesting. This would be a very heavy focus on those side lanes here if we do get the Taliyah. Ruin, you know, I don't think we're going to get Taliyah because it would be blind, but Ruin very likely should be the Akali. Syndra would be going mid. This is much more comfort for PowerOfEvil. We have seen him play it a number of times. But again, back to kind of that defensive support. It answers the Thresh well, but it means that they are not going to be bullying this lane. They're not going to be having a lot of pressure, very likely, down there. And Cloud9 will have counter pick here in the mid lane, and I'd be excited to see what Nisqy will bring out for us. And it may actually just be Sylas going mid.
Yeah, with an ultra flexible first pick like Sylas, you're able to do stuff like this towards the end of the draft, but that is still an advantaged matchup for Syndra. And if we look at the way game 1 played out, where CLG was trying to withstand pressure in the mid lane and make it work bottom lane, they lost that game pretty horribly. So this, to me, feels like a pivot from CLG with the Syndra and a Jarvan, looking to actually play around PoE in the mid lane and not let C9 snowball through the middle of the map and push that pressure elsewhere.
Yep, definitely a new look for CLG, trying a lot of different things here in game 2, because game 1 wasn't so hot for them. CNN outplayed them in almost every single turn. Very excited now to see what CLG could put together here into this one. We know these two teams were neck and neck throughout almost the entirety of the summer split. A tiebreaker game chose which team had the higher seed, and you expect this to be a very close series in the same vein. Coaches shake hands, off they go, and we'll see if CLG can answer back for game 2.
It's something I always liked looking at. Anytime Sylas is there, what are the key ultimates you can take? And I actually think that Jarvan is going to be very big to steal that ultimate in this game, because Syndra and Varus don't have good ways to actually escape from that Cataclysm. You're extremely dependent upon your Flash and Tahm Kench. And if you can lock those members down, utilizing GP, Jarvan, AoE as well here from the Gangplank and Gragas, that's really powerful.
And I think the additional consideration as we get into this game too, for C9 is how well their 1-3-1 matchups will play out later in the game. So not only is Jarvan a good ultimate to steal for Sylas in the mid game, stealing Akali ultimate is amazing if you get ahead. We got to see the Akali versus Sylas matchup so many times earlier on in the year. And really, whoever has more gold just wins because of how much mobility both of those characters have in chasing down each other for kills.
Around to the Rift we go. Cheers from the fans, ready to see a C9 2-0 start, or Counterlogic Gaming answering back in style, you have to hope. Line of scrimmage across the river for both these sides right now. A new look on the lineups here on both sides. Cloud9 playing much more about their bot lane with the Kate Thresh lineup. It's a very strong 2-on-2. Ruin, though, with the Akali. Gonna be exciting to watch. He's been one of the big standouts for CLG this split. And he's got a great champion to make his mark on the game.
And as Dat mentioned, you know, he hasn't yet played the Akali, but he is such a flexible player.
Yeah.
I believe it was 11 unique champions in the regular season. You know, the first like 8 games of the season, he had not had a double for any of his champion picks. So it's been so exciting to see, you know, the new life he has brought to CLG.
Well, we've got a handle on the CLG coaches. Take it away.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by Weldon and Irene. Weldon, you kind of told the players before, embrace that pressure that comes into these games. So how do you reset mentality coming into game 2?
I don't think there needed to be much reset on the player side. They're really focused and they know where they misplayed and they're confident in themselves.
And Irene, a little bit of insight into what kind of may have been some problems from game 1.
So I think we have another strength against their comp. Actually, they are strong mid jungle 2v2, but we are not. So another winning condition, we have it, but we couldn't to make it with that plan. So that's our main problem.
All right, thank you very much, coaches. Back to the game. We'll see what that has for us.
This is actually so interesting. So CLG has actually initiated the lane swap. It's actually PowerOfEvil going to be going top against the GP to lane against that GP, and they will be bringing Ruin to the mid lane. And this is a level 2 gank coming up from Wiggily, but it will be warded.
I mean, Syndra top lane is kind of the definition of a low mobility top laner. So that lane is highly vulnerable to ganks, but it does really change the complexion of the game because C9 kind of wants to do the mid lane 2v2, but Svenskeren is just kind of being told you should go top to kill that Syndra.
Yeah, Wiggily has actually spent so much time in this early game. This is red to top. So his jungle path was actually red, you know, all the way up to top lane. Then from top lane, he goes over into invade the red buff. He accomplishes nothing there, so he's still on 1 camp killed, unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
And he is going to be set pretty far behind Svenskeren as a result, who actually went blue to red, so the red was already cleared before Wiggily even got there, and has now the ability to look to pressure top lane.
Yeah, that was an early game gambit that definitely didn't work out, and now look at this, Wiggily actually getting chased down by Svenskeren into his own jungle.
Yeah, you're level 2. You can't actually fight that Gragas whatsoever, so now he's going to have to go back towards his wolves and potentially the bottom side scuttle. It's such an inefficient path. You know, he tried to take that risk toward early level 2 play, you know, around the enemy red buff, around top lane, and a great war from Licorice really thwarted all of it.
Well, end of the day, though, Wiggily managed to get his 2 camps. So Svenskeren went to invade and saw Wiggily kill his own blue and wolves. So end of the day, they got the same amount of camps now. And they're actually both kind of okay here. Top scuttle did go to Sven. That's, of course, good for the C9 side. That vision, very useful for how volatile this top lane matchup is. But yeah, Wiggly's really pathing, only got a ward kill.
Yeah. Also, it's a full camp and basically camp and a half ahead for Svenskeren because Krugs is worth roughly double other camps. Not the first camp, it's about 50% more, and then it'll be worth double the experience throughout the rest of the game. But Wiggily definitely not completely out of it because he was able to recover, and he's actually doing an evade in his own, knowing that Svenskeren spent extra time on the Scuttle Crab. So those early game level 2 gank tries can be recovered from if you play smart, or they can go disastrously wrong.
Oh, Huey taking big damage to flash in. Wiggler, the Q, it's enough! A solo kill on the top lane for Licorice.
The trial by fire, the burn from GP got him at the end. Corrupting potion ticking there as well. 1v1 solo kill from the GP is a disaster in this range versus melee lane.
Sometimes the game is all about where you create pressure and then where you spend the pressure. Other times, it's just about killing someone 1v1, especially when they try and throw a huge curveball. Hey, Licorice, he's not going to know how to lane against a Syndra. Theoretically, Syndra should actually be able to smash Gangplank, but look, PoE runs low on mana, just takes a little bit too much grasp poke, and the barrel that was lingering in the lane surprises PoE as the second one comes down. Licorice knows exactly how to convert. PoE also not familiar laning against Gangplank's top, and it costs CLG.
Ruin kind of cutting around now. Has to watch out, though, because Gragas coming around, jumps backwards. This time around, he's going to feel safe. The hook comes into the bottom lane. Not much of a fight there either, but CLG cannot buy a break now.
Yeah, I always have the question of when you're pulling off these lane swaps, how much practice do you have in that top lane? Because playing top lane is quite different compared to mid lane, with how especially you're supposed to manipulate the mini waves, get advantages, you know, when you can push, when you actually pull. You know, mid lane it's a lot easier to kind of play more safely, and PowerOfEvil is so good at doing that in the regular season. You know, he had second least deaths, I do believe, but you know, getting killed in game 1 a number of times, now getting solo killed here early on in game 2. It has not been his series thus far.
It's not the first time CLG has done this. There was another game in the split where Ruin actually swapped to play Renekton, but he's going in for solo kill, trying to get Nisqy.
Big damage here. Oh, comes across, almost down. Aftershock.
Nisqy!
Helping keep it alive. The re-engage. Nisqy finds the solo kill.
2 1v1 solo kills for both of the C9 solo laners, and that skill matchup mid lane, both Ruin and Nisqy burn basically everything, but Nisqy buys just enough time. It looked like the turret shot was the difference in that fight.
And I think Ruin's R2 there came up just short. It actually looked like he did not connect with the second half of the R onto Nisqy. And we'll have to see that one more time. But Nisqy, the confidence to flash in what came down to the final auto is just insane.
Yeah, as Wiggily goes in, we're going to try and get a Nisqy Pro V replay for that one, but Wiggily is fighting in the jungle. Ruin, no ultimate.
And the first one to act, though, is Licorice here. It means he's safe anyway. Just body sends back over the wall as the mid laner's coming by as well. No kills here, but the game state is 600 gold in the lead for C9. Those unassisted kills worth 300 gold.
Okay, so Nisqy is 6 first, but Ruin looks like he gets level 6 in the Shroud, pops out. Let's try and track that R2.
Yeah, it missed.
Nisqy, though, does proc Aftershock right at the end there to give him the extra bonus resistance, and then steals the ultimate to get that final execute. And also, almost all of Sylas' spells have that quick auto-attack reset, so being able to weave those in throughout the incredibly dashy, high-intensity combos shows Nisqy's skill.
Yeah, that's got to be so frustrating for Ruin, though. It looked like he was about a pixel away from actually hitting that and killing off Nisqy, and missing that, now giving the solo kill over to your opponent. In a lane, you were winning, right? Like, he's up 15 CS. Imagine you get that solo kill, you push in the wave. You are now so far ahead.
Yeah, and if we kind of talk about the pressure that they could be under, CLG pulls off this lane swap, top and bot, throws a curveball, they both get solo killed. But what I find interesting here is the gold is still actually pretty close. How does C9 keep going? Now they're bot lane.
Hook's gonna find the support. Big damage on the Zeyzal. They're gonna knock him down to the 2-on-2. And the re-engage is gonna be a little bit dangerous, though. A lot of damage here. Quickly eats him up. A Biofrost is gonna go down for this one. Same here for Stixxay as Nisqy finds himself his 3rd kill of the game.
Very aggressive play there, and the roams really made the difference. More members show up there for C9. Good job, though, by CLG to get a kill back in what was, essentially a 2v4 in the long play. But it is Cloud9 positive at the end of the day.
Yeah, this really does feel like a game where in the mid lane, CLG has the ability to get solo kills. In the bottom lane, they have the ability to get 2v2 kills, but they are not converting the way they need to. Ruin now trying to go in again for Nisqy.
They find some damage. They found a jungler here as well, but a lantern make sure he feels safe, and Nisqy doesn't have to take it. Just walks in, grabs the shield. Ooh, that hook could have been close. Ruin might have been killed off that one, but staying alive now.
And the longer they don't convert, the more dangerous this does become for CLG. Even though C9 is up against Ruin's Akali in the mid lane, they still have 3 kills onto Nisqy because he got that double. If they can open up the map and get into that 1-3-1 again, they're going to key into their comfort zone. It's about CLG converting here on either kills bottom lane,
they're going
breaks,
to collapse
fights
on
in river.
Ooh, that's a nice hook. Finds some damage right there. It's going to be flayed up there as well. Brings the rest of the squad. The dunk comes in, but there's almost no way out.
There's Nisqy.
That's a great design, but the rest of the squad is showing up now. Wiggly's going to be in danger. The snipe comes in. Sneaky grabs the red buff. Now it's time for Biofrost. Certainly going to drop down as well from across the map. Licorice grabs the 2nd kill.
Yeah, CLG trying to make an aggressive play for vision there, but you don't have mid lane priority. Nisqy's able to easily roam down there with Svenskeren. Again, the extra bodies make the difference here for C9, and they're going to get an Infernal off the back of this
will they?
as well.
Yeah, they will. It was worth looking. Nice attempt there, Stixxay. Not going to steal it. And 6-1 in kills, plus the Inferno puts Cloud9 well ahead.
C9 showing a lot more poise, and because those solo kills went in the side and the game was kind of close, now that they've also gotten some team and skirmish kills, it goes wide open. But just thinking about this play, Biofrost and Wiggily shouldn't have been there. They were definitely pressing on that play. They didn't have mid priority. PowerOfEvil was in base. Their bot lane was just clearing waves, and C9 had all of the freedom to just kind of walk down and pick up the double.
I mean, why are you even flagging dragging in on Sneaky if you're not looking for a dive? It's just a tank Jarvan and a Tahm Kench there. You don't actually have kill pressure on this full HP Caitlyn, who had flash, so they commit to that. And that meant they were so far up, and C9 make the collapse, and now are going to have full run of the map. GP even got a 2nd kill with his ultimate coming in there. That's not even an assist, so despite the Merc Treads rush, he has a Sheen at a great time and is scaling up very well.
Cloud9 looking really good here, 1,700 gold ahead. Only 11 minutes into this game, looking very solid here. And again, all these lanes can look really good. You point to the 20 CS lead in the mid lane, but it's a 600 gold lead, of course, for Nisqy because the kills he's gotten. Yeah, laning phase is tough. Yeah, roaming makes you drop CS, but clearly Nisqy having the better game right now. And across the map, you got to feel really good for Cloud9 here. Every single player aside from support has a gold lead.
Down in CS, up in gold. this is one of those things where I can imagine CLG is kind of kicking themselves in the back room because they're thinking, hey, we did it in draft phase and we're proving it, right? Our players can actually win these lanes, but if they don't convert on kills, if they're not playing the map properly, which can happen when you swap your solo laners to different positions in the game, the coordination is lacking, and that's where C9 is really thriving here in absorbing a little bit of the pressure early and then capitalizing when they see the windows.
And you've got to say, C9 has more experience in these types of crazy aggressive fights and games because that is their style. They're one of the teams that takes the most fights out of anyone. They thrive in these skirmishes and these roams and these 1v1 plays because they're always challenging for them. Well, CLG, that's not the style that they had really practiced and played for during the regular season. Here comes his top.
Next attempt, he has a stolen Akali already. Assassination comes in. Kill number 4 for Nisqy.
The disappearing act there. He's gone.
Also, Licorice was just farming at his turret. He's like, okay, guys, you got this. I'm not going to give away your gank at all. I don't need the assist. You're going to get this gold anyway. Yeah, total demolition of PowerOfEvil. Really, kind of the first time we're seeing the punishment for the low mobility laner. And then...
What a play, but the dunk still comes in. Quick stopwatch used, Sneaky very, very low. There's the first kill coming through for Wiggily. So trying to find another kill. The 3 versus 1. The play builds some space. The stopwatch buys 2 seconds. The flash to get out. Ruin finally claims that kill, and CLG a nice double kill for the tower dive.
But meanwhile, Rift Herald is going up topside. They actually TP'd there as well with PowerOfEvil, so that's 5 members there. They're going to lose the tier 2 as well. So it is quite an expensive dive that they did just pull off.
A massive commitment by CLG to go for that. You hardly see the 5-man crash when a Rift Herald is in the other lane.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take 2 turrets, even if you convert it. I think, though, that is a play CLG needed, even just for morals, because they had to get on the board and they had to do something proactive.
Exactly, and I think that's the call they're making. You know, they're saying, hey, we are behind. We cannot just allow C9 to dictate to us as they did in game 1. Let's get aggressive. Let's make something happen. And yes, they committed a lot to it, but they do get the kill. They do get the turret in the eventual play. You know, Sneaky committing the early flash. It was a great play on the flag and drag, but Sneaky without the 90 caliber net, without the flash, had no way to escape, and there's no reinforcing this. Zeyzal and Sneaky bought a lot of time, but they were always going to go down in the end. It was just about buying time for the turret play elsewhere. But CLG, at least, you know, they get their first item on Varus, they get the solo turret gold onto Stixxay, and you know that is building up some hope for an avenue to carry, because Stixxay is actually, you know, very, very rich, right? He almost has as much gold as Nisqy, just behind the most gold of the game.
Solo turret in the bottom lane, all 5 plates taken out. Again, first turret gold itself is only 150. And of course, top lane tier 2 worth of 500 and change itself. So, you know, that turret lead certainly matters in the Cloud9 side. But yeah, the game within 2K, not unreasonable, but it is a lead, and now 4v1 in the bot lane.
They might look to dive. It is difficult to dive in Akali, especially when you don't have any stealth reveals like a LeBlanc chain or a Karma chain. So looks like they're just going to happily take the turret as they grow to now a 2,500 gold advantage.
And CLG, you know, will take the top lane turret in response, but Cloud9 are going to continue pushing it. They have the tempo.
Dive.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot of damage. Zeyzal kills him with it. Now Wiggly's got to be a little bit afraid in the mid lane.
Potential dive.
Takes some damage. Sven's here as well, so get around the minions. There's the dunk as well. So Cask actually misses, but they got the damage anyway. Kill picked up 2 underneath that turret as TPs come in. Ruin wants now to do something about Licorice. Dives in with the ultimate. Time for round 2. Stopwatch buys some time. Can't quite get the kill. You've got to be kidding me. Ruin falls up short. His plans are just that. Now Nisqy's in the play. Finally does come down as CLG finally gets a kill.
Yeah, finally a positive there for CLG as they get the shutdown onto their already richest member. That is heartbreak for Ruin. So many low health bars. Couldn't quite finish him off. C9 do end up grabbing the dragon here as well, which is going to help against any potential Varus poke especially.
Yeah, this whole first 15 minutes could kind of be categorized as CLG heartbreak on repeat. But so many close kills. I think what C9 needs to be careful about actually is that they don't consider themselves too far ahead in this game, because you think about all the things that have narrowly missed for CLG, you'd expect a 5,000 gold lead, it's only 2,000. So watching this fight once again, Nisqy continues to just pull off some amazing outplays. Here's Svenskeren as well. Didn't quite get the damage with that cask, but then right here you can see Ruin attempts to all in. Watch the stopwatch usage on Zeyzal. and the stopwatch usage on Svenskeren. I think it was just Svenskeren that did the stopwatch. But anyway, everyone incredibly low. Finally, though, the exhaust comes in, which prevents Nisqy from being able to get fatal damage onto Stixxay.
Definitely an important pickup there, as you're saying. You know, that completes the Rage Blade. So now you really have to play around your strength, because PowerOfEvil's just getting picked off time and time again. No flash. I think he's just dead.
Close cast into the wall. A bit more damage. There's the pickup. He alley up to himself. Svenskeren lands the Q, gets another kill. 4-11. Cloud9 up about 2,500 gold. Mid lane, though, under fire. CLG trying to shorten that one up, but we are seeing signs of life. I think this is, so far, feels like a closer game. C9, of course, still winning.
I agree, but I also think PowerOfEvil has to find a way to avoid side lanes. He is too vulnerable out there, and CLG needs to find ways of forcing with 4 people in the mid lane and Tahm Kench ulting to the stray side lane, even if they're going to be behind in map pressure, because if they try and match the 1-3-1, it's going to be PoE looking at a gray screen on repeat.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And while you do lose some immediate tempo when you Tahm Kench away from mid lane, you know, maybe C9 gets the push there, getting a kill in a side lane can relieve that and then pay that back, you know, tenfold. You can be able to get the run of the map for the next minute or so, get some vision back, and really regain control.
It is easier said than done as well, because that is C9's specialty. It's what they won most of game 1 off of, was making sure that they always had pressure in side lanes and they were always living in front of CLG's mid turrets. So if Tahm Kench ever leaves with a buddy, they'd lose 1 to 2 turrets mid lane. So every minion wave is actually pushed to CLG's side of the map right now, and this is a state where C9 hopes to keep the map for the rest of the game.
And it's so interesting to see, because, you know, Stixxay is nearly 2K ahead of CK. It's really, really strong. But when you look over at the C9 team, there's not really any meatball to just sit there and stack your Rage Blade on and attack, right? He's going to be dove upon by all these members, and we'll see if he gets a chance to stand and fight.
Nice sidestep. There's a hook on the front line, but there's the route now back over to him. The knockup array. They're going to knock down Zeyzal, and a flash away. Wiggily, though, burning down. Puts the ulti in. Looking for the damage towards Licorice now. Flashing away now himself, and Ruin tries to buy some time with the Smoke Shroud. Gonna look to walk away. Does get out. 1 for 1, though. Jungler for support.
Looks like CLG can hang in team fights, especially if they're able to dodge those initiations. I'm actually a little surprised that C9 broke from the 1-3-1 to attempt that initiation, but because of the failed task, it did give CLG a window to try and get a 1-for-1. Now C9 tries to reestablish that pressure.
Minor siege. No autos coming through for Sneaky. Wave is clear, no problem. Both these teams have 2 ults up right now. Looks like they've all just split across the map and nothing doing.
Yeah, I think C9 were also hoping that this wave that is built in the top lane, if they could keep CLG mid lane, that maybe that crashes and you have some pressure kind of developing from that. But obviously, since CLG went even in that fight, PowerOfEvil is going to have time to get over there to collect that wave. And despite the fact that he is dying a lot, he at least still has pretty good farm. So there certainly is still that positive, but Cloud9 with the gold lead and the dragons to boot is a big deal.
Yeah, watching this fight one more time. Nice little sidestep there by Stixxay. Kind of fighting intuition and juking towards the enemy team. Followed up by a nice ultimate on Zeyzal. So not only did Stixxay dodge the initiations, he landed on the other side, but still a large gold deficit as Nisqy goes in, zones Ruin out of the fight, and makes sure it's a 1-for-1.
Let's go back to the map state right now as PowerOfEvil shoving in the top lane, getting back on the C9 side of the map, and he'll go and play defensive as C9 now pushed into the bottom jungle, and they look for this Cloud Drake in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and actually, 2 members of CLG kind of ghosting towards the top side of the map, saying, every time PoE pushes up past halfway, he dies. Let's send 2 people there and try and catch him. Of course, C9 is not even close, and they end up just wasting a bunch of map pressure.
I still like the attempt, especially when you're showing Wiggily mid lane.
Yeah.
You were probably thinking, hey, Ruin's just actually just walking towards bot lane, so that is a play that could have worked out. But C9, you know, they don't care about top lane right now. It is about this dragon, and they have set up, you know, this huge area of vision really all around the dragon pit that is all Cloud9's, and there's not really any way for CLG to kind of confidently approach into that area without the prepped vision.
Oh, Svenskeren takes it slow, takes a couple of auto attacks, takes a couple of spells. The Drake's gonna go down, and the fight not quite gonna matter here against Gragas. Body slams away. Top lane shoved in, resets. Back we go to the mid lane, and nothing gained for CLG aside from a few minions. Game state still 2,500 gold apart, and 3-0 in Drakes.
And when we look at the map, this game actually feels closer to me than game 1.
Yeah.
CLG has been able to get at least one of their waves pushing, but the bigger thing is when they have members spread out, they're not immediately dying in the mid lane. So right here, they actually have 2 people top, 1 person bot, only 2 holding mid, to 4 of C9. Last game, that's a dive by C9, CLG dies. But it hasn't happened this game, I think, because they're able to create more pressure and maybe dissuade C9 from some of these really hard initiations.
And Stixxay now almost has enough gold. Well, he does actually have enough gold for a full Zeal item. So he is really, on next base. Very, very strong. I'll be interested to see, is he going to go for anything defensive like a PD with all this dive, or does he feel comfortable to still go towards rapid fire or hurricane, which is the more standard build? Because I do tend to think sometimes in a situation like this, the more defensive item actually allows you to get more DPS out because you can position more aggressively.
Yeah, and I think actually when you are, though, the losing team, I think you have to play, riskier item-wise. There's the Hurricane coming in. It's all damage. It's, 4 essentially melee champions. You consider Thresh kind of out on C9's side. Stixxay has the most gold in the game. I really want to point that out, right? He's above 10K. Yeah. He is the gold leader of the match. He's been given so many of the turrets. As we can see, PowerOfEvil able to farm safely, hasn't died in probably 8 minutes, and that's a big deal for him as well as he finally catches up there. You can see he's at 1.5 items. Void Steps coming in pretty soon. CLG definitely are stabilizing, and with a 3-item marksman, they're safe to fight. Yeah,
C9's still in control, but the game has been stable, and another time where they're able to actually move into river, get a little bit of vision down, and still actually have this mid lane turret. So watch to see if Svenskeren can get a flash engage on Stixxay. That's where all eyes are going to be.
Eyes on Biofrost then. Press W, put your cursor over Stixxay, make sure he's safe. He's always in range the whole time.
At the right time, though.
Of course. Turret goes down, though. Enough pressure was there that the 4 of C9 threatened the dive. They put in the siege, turret goes down.
Yeah, and I really like their setup for that, right? They had Nisqy on the right side, Licorice is waiting in the brush on the left side. So if CLG were to engage forward, C9 would be there to respond, and here goes CLG.
Okay, ulti comes across, Stixxay is very low, gotta watch out! Explosive cast comes in, and it's gonna be spit right back out, but Sylas has arrived, he's unshackled, and the 2 kills come in. Look at a number 3, they're gonna find Ruin most likely, waiting in the Shroud. A little bit more damage coming through, there's the double kill coming across, looking for a little bit more now, as only 2 of CLG remain alive to 5 of Cloud9.
And C9 will head right for Baron. They were ready for that engage. The solo's waiting in the wings. They get on top of Stixxay, and they're willing to commit all their flashes. Dogpile on this carry. They know he was CLG's hope in that team fight, and they snuffed it out.
C9's setup was far superior in that one. I think the reason Stixxay was so caught out was because his front line was actually attempting a flank, if we would go back in the replay and see where Wiggily was, but even though Wiggly's alive, he's not trying for the steal. It wouldn't have even been close, and that's what really breaks the game open.
They TP in time to see the Baron going away. They can hope they can burn some flashes. They get a root, they get some damage. Maybe a little something for CLG. They put the dunk down as well, and it's a 2-for-1. So at least scrap picked up there for Counterlogic Gaming, but Cloud9, let's keep in mind, 4 kills to 0, or 4 kills to 2 with the Baron picked up.
Yeah, so watch where Wiggily and Ruin are in this game. Stixxay steps up to the center of the GP ultimate, and is at half health before he can actually do any damage, and dead as well.
It was a great devour by Biofrost, though, actually. Did it before the Gragas ultimate even hit while it was in midair to stop that damage coming through. But all the flashes committed from Cloud9 meant they're going to be on top of Stixxay as soon as he pops out.
Yeah, I think the timing of the devour was great, but because Tahm Kench can't move fast anymore, can't flash anymore, he was delaying the inevitable. That devour will be great if he is actually in the back line, but because Stixxay got caught in the front, no chance.
So game state now, 4.7 thousand gold ahead for Cloud9. And you think about the last game they had Baron buff, they ended the game during it. And this time around, of course, they got a lot more work to do. But I want to see how much C9 does with their lead.
One small saving grace is that Stixxay still has his flash. So, that is something to kind of help keep him a little bit more safe, but you definitely have to be very worried if you're PowerOfEvil. Anytime Gragas has Body Slam Flash, you are so susceptible.
Yeah, and also the 80 carry difference isn't really there right now. It's a 3-item crit Caitlyn and the super fed solo lanes. I mean, looking at Licorice's 505 scoreline and the Zhonya's completed onto Nisqy, who is a full item ahead of either of the COD solo laners. Ruin is actually incredibly poor this game. Low CS, low kills, so C9 gonna dictate.
They're going right now. Ruin to the back line. They find the hook to the front, though. Big damage to the Sneaky Habits onto him. Akali gonna come around the back line and find a kill. 1 for 0 and a better kill picked up now. Will there be a re-engage? GP will push them back. And they might be looking to fight this one 4v4 as the Thresh the ult is burned now by Nisqy. Does CLG walk forward? Zeyzal's on the wings. Zeyzal's waiting for a hook. He can find Wiggily. He is going to find Wiggily. They're not going to go forward anymore on that one. They're going to let him walk away as the Drake's now at 3,000 HP. The jungler alive. Wiggily no smite, but they don't know that right now. He's going to reset. They're going to walk away. C9 half HP onto them. Stixxay feels safe, gonna go in, they're gonna try to grab it. Ooh, and it goes to Tahm Kench. That's a nice pickup right there. CLG claimed this one. Now for round 2 as they find some reveals. Svenskeren just barely not getting caught out. Hook almost lands on Wiggily. Blue buff's gonna go to C9. Counter Logic Gaming find a better kill and they get the Drake.
Yeah, the Spellbook Smite there from Biofrost came in clutch, able to actually grab that Dragon. That is a big one, grabbing a late game Infernal. So important, and this is really a lot off the back of Rune, who comes in with this flank and is able to trade out his life for Sneaky.
Big thing you need to notice, GP's in the bot lane, so that's why CLG was going for that fight, and they got enough enough poke down onto Sneaky that the low gold Akali, who's about 4,000 gold below Sylas, was able to take him down. And then this was the crucial part of the fight to me when it is a 4v4, and without the Caitlyn DPS, C9 doesn't want to commit cooldowns onto the Infernal Drake, so they can't burst it down, and the DPS of CLG is still there. They had no smite on the jungler. They did have a smite on their support, so they get the Infernal down 5,000 gold, down a Baron, down a kills, but still, another small bit of hope that CLG still has in this game.
They got some hope, but it's still running out. It's 5-2 now in turrets as Cloud9 stretched their gold lead to 5,000. They did bleed an Inferno Drake. That is something going to CLG's way, but more and more of the map belongs to Cloud9 now.
You've also got to remember, that was the Baron power play. So C9 had the extra power from that, the extra stats. They actually were only positive 600 gold during that and lost an Infernal. So, you know, that was certainly not the dominant Baron that we saw from game 1, where they're crushing through the map, closing out the game. CLG are hanging around and, you know, certainly looking, I think, a lot more competitive in these later minutes.
And I think it's because they are looking for fights when C9 is going to try and prep side minion waves. If GP is actually not involved in a fight, we've seen CLG has a chance. And even though this is a 5,000 gold lead, C9 is in a large lead, I'm still kind of impressed that the game isn't a complete blowout.
Yeah.
So many fights have felt like they've gone horribly wrong for CLG, but the farm on Stixxay, the farm on PoE, who was 0-4 at one point, close to a death cap now. If he gets that, he'll be a powered up Syndra. They are sticking around, which C9 I think is appropriately wary of, but they can't disrespect this gold lead that they have, and C9 needs to play smartly around the next Baron.
Yeah, I mean, C9 is up 9 kills and has a Caitlyn and got a Baron. You'd think, hey, you can siege, you can close this one out. So well played from CLG to kind of adapt to some of their mistakes that they made in game 1. They're turning up the tempo a little bit more, but C9 playing it smart, playing it patiently, still in the driver's seat here, getting tons of vision around this next potential Baron. They already have 4 pink wards in the area trying to choke them out.
This mid lane is where they're going to look. Nisqy's flanking around the back.
Here they go.
The attempt right then, explosive, not gonna find a single unit as Stixxay now gets his ult stolen. Varus tags him, and his Guardian Angel down instantly with already a kill picked up. Here comes the rest of the re-engage. Ult comes across, cannot kill Sneaky. Stixxay's alive, and it's gonna be a stopwatch used now as well. Over the wall goes Zeyzal, who kills him with the aftershock damage, and the kills have come through 4-0.
Nisqy is just taking over the stolen Varus ultimate with all his AP. Erased Stixxay off the map.
Such a good opening to this series. They might be able to push to the end here. 15 seconds on Bio, 20 on Ruin. At the least, they'll get 2 inhibs.
Looking at the first turret, gonna go down, no problem. Top lane under fire as well as they keep pushing forward, and it's gonna be PoE's turn to try to buy some space to clear the minions. The mid lane wave looks like they're not gonna defend that one. They'll take the top turret, and Nisqy gonna walk back because Baron has spawned. The risk-averse play is simply claim the Baron with no one to stop you.
And they don't want to be caught in a reset while CLG can burst Baron, but we gotta just give Nisqy a shout out for this play. CLG use all their tools to avoid this initiation. The start of it's actually really well played. Perfect devour, spits him out, but then the Varus ultimate snipes him. And by the way, he's got an AP ratio. Why not? There's a ton of AP on Sylas, so it one-shots him, and then they win the fight from there because so much of the damage was actually on that Varus. The GA doesn't matter at the end of the day, even though he had itemized defensive because he died right in the middle of C9.
Yeah, getting that GA off him really, really big. You know, that's now no flash, no GA. They can try to hard commit Svenskeren has flash.
Sylas finds
He's gonna
the
go.
stun. That's Pee-wee going down for a lot of damage. Puts his own ulti in. They don't quite find the kill. Now they're re-engaged, but it's not going to be enough for Wiggily. His whole team is dead around him. And it's Biofrost versus the world. This one's not going to happen. 25-8 in kills, and Cloud9 walk it right down the mid lane. A 31-minute victory, and they are a game away from making it back to the LCS Finals.
C9 absorbed the lane trickery by CLG in the early game. They cleanly close out this game. 25 kills in 31 minutes. Flank after flank, fight after fight. C9 outplayed CLG.
And what a performance from the solo laners. 8-0-8 on the Gangplank, 10-2-9 on the Sylas. A solo kill apiece in this lane swap play that CLG tried to orchestrate to get better lane matchup. C9 says, no, we'll just outplay you. We'll take those solo kills. We'll take the advantage. And it really was so much about this top side of the map for them. Their play alongside Svenskeren, I think, has been incredible. And as a result, they're at match point.
Cloud9, definitely the better team. We came in saying, yep, they have the better solos. It's continued to be the case. You can't say it more emphatically than straight up solo kills within a minute and a half of each other in both solo lanes. The players are stepping up today on teams that were tied in the standings. They had to tiebreak to play it, and today it's like Cloud9's just far better.
Yeah, they were 2-1 in the regular season. They are 2-0 today, and CLG already made a big pivot from game 1 towards game 2 in trying to pick more lane dominant solos in Syndra, not wanting to give in to that Svenskeren mid lane jungle domination that they've shown throughout this regular season. And even though they're kind of staying close, they're just getting crushed in the middle late game team fights with C9's coordination and team play.
They really are. I do have to give them a bit of credit, though, for their more proactive play, right? This looked a lot better than game 1, and if they could shore up the early game, they could be competitive still in this series. But C9 looking great.
Definitely, I think, still can be a close series. We'll see if CLG can shape up. But to hear more about that stellar performance from Cloud9, let's throw it back to the State Farm analyst desk.
C9 are speeding their way to series point here with the 2-0 over CLG. As Freak said, there's basically no more emphatic way to say that you own the series or make that statement than to have solo kills in both of your solo lanes within that first 10 minutes of the game. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about CLG's approach to this game because they definitely came in with a different strategy in mind and even showed flexibility by swinging PowerOfEvil up to the top lane and throwing Ruin into the mid lane.
Yeah, that is a strategy that you'll see sometimes where if you have two solo laners who can kind of switch lanes, they can go for it if it's a better matchup. And so it makes sense in this situation to not want Akali into Gangplank, but I think that they really messed up the way that they did their swap because PoE ends up getting super behind top because he goes late and then has to walk through GP, takes a huge HP chunk here once they see what the lanes are.
That's just having inexperience in the top lane, really, taking that route, which is just, it is something that you pull out here, but you didn't go through every step.
Right, because if you looked at that, he actually ended up missing all the melee CS, which is a big deal. You'll be behind XP the entire lane. And he got chunked to half HP.
And I do like that CLG was trying to play around this reality where they're getting the red buff to top lane start, skipping blue, and trying to find probably an early gank on the GP who's going to get a push off, but the ward's already there, so he's spotted out. He sweeps it to try and add pressure, but then when he goes to invade, he's actually spotted on multiple wards along the way, so the GP is never pressured, and all this counter jungling he's looking for is already gone by Sven, who skipped his whole bot side after taking blue.
I think this was really clever pathing from Sven.
Yeah.
It worked out very well for what Wiggily was trying to do. I think Wigglily's plan wasn't bad. It's probably a look that a lot of people would go for, you know, all right, my top lane is in a very bad state, you know, down on HP, down on experience. I'm level 2 Jarvan, I can bring it back. But it was warded, so it didn't work. And then Sven also took the 2 camps that Jarvan would want to go to next. So
I think that's something that's huge to acknowledge, right? Separating the idea of the play, right, to the results of the play. Because C9 also had their say in it all. And as you mentioned, Svenskeren, intelligent pathing, good warding to call all of this out in the early game. Stonewalls CLG's intelligent move in that, hey, we might need to protect the Syndra or get her a little bit ahead in the matchup against GP, and then things can happen.
I think they know that that kind of play might be coming because Sejuani was left up in the draft. They took the Jarvan as a, we want to have this pick, and you're just not going to take a Jarvan without at least looking for a level 2 cheese of some sort. You're really just wasting the champion if you're not taking that window.
Right, I think that it did kind of show some inexperience in CLG doing the swap, because I know a lot of the time when this swap happens, it's done with, you know, those flex picks like Akali, Irelia, the ones that are played traditionally in both lanes. But when you do it with a Syndra, and, you know, based on PoE's pathing, it didn't look like he was super familiar with, like, how that was going to play out, because if he knew GP was there, there's no way he would have walked into him like that.
Yeah.
So definitely, it seems like CLG's attempted strategy backfired pretty
Still a
hard.
bit of a learning curve there. I do know, again, when I spoke to CLG, that they very much recognized G2's incredible performance over Rift Rivals and at MSI, and cited the flexibility in being able to do that. Maybe not finding exactly the same capabilities just yet, but again, it speaks to the willingness of this team to look for outs and strategies that other LCS teams have not done so far this season.
And let's be honest, it wasn't like the game was lost there. It was what happened afterwards, where C9's like solo lane started absolutely manhandling this whole game. They took over, and it did take longer to close out, but there was no doubt in anyone's mind that C9 were the ones completely in control of this game.
And when you get the Gangplank getting a solo kill on the Syndra, you know you're having a really good game, because your jungler, I mean, how do you feel when your solo laners are getting kills? Your job is done. You didn't do it. You don't have to do much more.
If I'm Svenskeren in this game, I'm feeling good. You know, I'm almost a full level up on Jarvan. My laners are super ahead. And so, you know, he's just walking around with Predator boots.
Clearing camps. But yeah, solo kills on both ends. A very close one here in the mid lane that Nisqy comes out on top of.
He's playing incredible today.
Amazing. And then it was about, as you mentioned, Mark, how do we close out the game? And it wasn't the cleanest of operations, but to some degree that feels reliant on the comp that C9 had to close the game out with.
There's zero beef in the front line. All 5 members can get insta-gibbed if they get caught in the wrong CC chain, and so they have to be a little scrappier with it than you would normally want to see compared to the first game, where they actually had some better setup.
Yeah, they definitely lacked some of those, you know, go buttons that other teams will have. You know, you don't have a Braum to just walk into 5 people. You don't have a Sivir ult. So you had to get kind of creative with Gragas, Thresh. None of those have guaranteed engages, but they did find it.
That's where I want to extend some credit
Nice.
to CLG, though, for the way that they stuck in this game. Because, again, when things go as disastrously as they did in that early game, we still found a number of fights where CLG understood their power level and spikes and said, hey, we can contest here. Again, if they're not in the hole as much as they are, perhaps those are winning fights. But we even saw them contesting for the Drakes and securing one themselves.
But you know, something different I want to see out of CLG is that Biofrost has been playing TK 2 games in a row. And that's not a pick that really allows a player to make your own plays. You need to really be involved with your team constantly. And we have seen this player do so much when he has the agency to pick the Zyra, which it was banned. It has been banned, but he does have a lot more range supports. We have seen even the likes of Bard. You guys played Bard and did pretty well with it. So there are a lot more tools that they can use that I would just like to see being given to the guy that got second all-pro team.
The problem is C9's great bans continue in the second game, where in the second phase, after taking the Thresh, they ban out 2 ranged champions that he knows Biofrost likes to play. And so that's another time where it's like, oh, we would have liked to see him on something else, but what's left up? Because C9's doing a great job banning.
So do you have to first phase pick your support now for Biofrost just to secure him something that'll give him more agency in the bot lane or across the map? I did receive information Cloud9 is moving back to blue side for the third game. So reminiscent of game 1. What can CLG do from red?
Well, something that I kind of expect to see CLG try this game is their bot lane is known for being very good at Caitlyn Morgana. And we actually saw C9 take Caitlyn in the 1-2 last game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see CLG try something similar, you know, take an early Caitlyn and then pair it with a ranged support, whether it's Morgana, Lux, Bard, something like that, because in those matchups, you can get a lot of bot lane priority and then use your bot lane to control Dragon to help mid lane. And I think that could be one way for CLG to kind of claw their way back.
C9 was in a very familiar position just last split here in the semifinals. And so I have to wonder if any of that is weighing in their minds right now, as Cloud9 are 1 win away from sweeping their way back to the finals. We'll see if they can complete the 3-0 when we return, or if CLG will have something to say about that.
You take it.
We take big damage to flash in. Wiggily, the Q, it's enough!
That's fine. They will die, but you can get both. Hold Derek, I think. Or maybe not.
I don't need it.
Should be both dead.
coming too, by the way.
Did we get a kill?
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
Zeyzal with the ultimate. Time for round two. Stopwatch by some time. Can't quite get the kill. You've got to be kidding me.
Okay. Akali's the flash. Yo, Akali in a flash. Akali. No flash.
Go Baron, go Baron, go Baron, go Baron.
Ult comes across, cannot kill Sneaky. Stixxay's alive, and it's going to be a stopwatch used now as well. Over the wall goes Zeyzal, who kills him with the aftershock.
Syndra's dead.
I have Jarvan, I have Jarvan.
Just peel.
Yeah, they're dead.
Just peel.
Kill them all.
Good job.
Poggers.
When you're chasing greatness, just remember, it's not about what you say. It's about what you do.
Yeah, got a pretty big fender bender here.
State Farm's got you covered, Mike.
That's great to hear, Robin. Everybody remain calm. We have